the state should have contacted him earlier versus notifying him in an email only 2 weeks ago. A new medical center will be built here, and staff members say that it will provide more space for veterans. People are mean online is because it's an easier way for them to tell the truth. Police say the safest way to cross the street is using the crosswalk. Rental properties had to offer a number of things like $1,500 once in the fall and once in the spring. And they also say that the smoke alarms should at least last for about 10 years. Ms. Ann urges that everyone should get involved with the needy, and one way you can do that is either donate a non-perishable food item here at the food bank. Backup generators should last for about 8 to 10 years. Omu Ujamu doesn't only perform African dance. In fact, they'll perform some jazz numbers. Imagine going to the gym and the energy you put out while exercising on the elliptical machine could turn into electrical power. University of Florida graduate Hudson Hard designed a way to make that happen. He's wired machines at the Gainesville Health and Fitness Center near the Oaks Mall.
We're showing the power going back to this bank of lights. And when you stop going, they turn off. And then when you start again, they come back. And so this is kind of an example of showing what the power can do. But with all the other machines, the power is actually going back to the grid. It's going back to the electrical system of the gym, powering the lights around you.
The power produced by the machines goes into a special grid and will help the gym offset its GRU cost.
The entire array of exercise equipment is feeding our system, and it's going through to this grid synchronous inverter, and we're sending power back in real time. No batteries, directly to the grid in the most efficient way.
Gym goer Mandy Sperlin says this is a great way to exercise and help the environment.
That's wonderful. To be able to do that while we're working out and doing something good for our bodies, to do something good for the environment, we can't beat that.
Har hopes the concept will spread to other gyms as people grow more conscious of trying to reduce their carbon footprint, in this case by harnessing foot power. Rashinda Sampson takes pride in her East Gainesville home. The Florida Department of Corrections is considering the possibility of building a prison not far from here, and Sampson says that she's not opposed.
I know it'll bring job opportunities to this area, but as long as they're willing to pay the people, and make sure that they're fully staffed so that prisoners don't escape or, hurt the people that are there to watch them, I don't have any problem.
Resident Dwayne Bryan agrees.
That means they have to work extra hard to keep the environment safe than what it is right now. I mean, they're doing a very good job, and I thank them for being very supportive and responsible.
Santa Fe student Joshua Hutchison also lives in the area. He doesn't see the proposed prison as a security threat.
When they get in, they ain't getting out, you know what I'm saying? You got holding cells in there, so it's not like they gonna be here and they just roaming the streets.
Alachua County Commissioner Rodney Long says building a prison in East Gainesville will have a negative effect on the community. Long believes it will discourage people from investing. Residents here in East Gainesville feel that building a prison here could be a good or a bad thing. But there's no doubt in Commissioner Rodney Long's mind that it's a bad idea. And he feels that the state should have contacted him earlier versus notifying him in an email only 2 weeks ago.
We've done too much over the last 3 to 5 years to try to get that area ready for development. We got too many positive developments that are beginning to come.
You can live in the worst neighborhood area, and as long as you are comfortable in your own home, that's your home.
Sampson says whether or not a prison is built in this area, she's not going anywhere. She says her home is her foundation. Duke Carter, WUFT News. Tomatoes are returning to restaurants and grocery store shelves. With the latest salmonella scare fresh in their minds, some consumers are still cautious about buying and eating tomatoes. Others say they rely on instinct.
When I look at something, if I look at it, Lord says, I get this feeling, don't get it, I don't get it. I go by my feeling.
The FDA recommends eating raw red plum, raw red Roma, or raw red round tomatoes only if grown and harvested from areas that have not been associated with the outbreak. Grocery store owner Alan Hitchcock says his tomato suppliers are on the safe list.
We were fortunate. None of the tomatoes that we had, or all the tomatoes that we had during that time, were all from the regions that were approved.
Experts say these tomatoes are usually put on hamburgers, and when the outbreak occurred, they were immediately taken off the shelf. But they still say there are some ways you can protect yourself. UF Food Science Professor Keith Snyder has advice for consumers who still have questions.
If you're concerned, you can substitute some other type of fresh vegetable in your diet. Again, if you want to have tomatoes, you can actually, do cooked tomato products if you want the nutritional value that comes along with eating tomatoes.
Meantime, Schneider says the investigation into the Salmonella outbreak is ongoing and isn't sure when it will end. Duke Carter, WUFT News. The O'Connell Center is filled with children swimming and practicing their strokes. While many this summer are enjoying time off from school, some won't have time to take a break, like Miranda Yule. She may be small, but she's the only one on her team competing in this summer's Paralympics. Miranda admits she was surprised.
I didn't think I would do that well at first, and like my first meet, there were a lot of people that like told me I was good and stuff like that, and so I just kind of got encouraged.
Miranda competed in the U.S. Paralympic swimming trials in April. She placed first in 6 events, second in 1, and set 4 American records. She says that some people are shocked because of what she can do.
Yeah, like they're kind of surprised to see that I could do certain things and certain strokes and swim for a certain distance of time and stuff like that. But in the end, they were like, wow.
Miranda says she's not really thinking about her form when she swims. The main thing on her mind is beating the person next to her. Some of her teammates admit Miranda can beat them in kicking and admire her attitude.
I never see her down at practice. She's probably one of the most enthusiastic. Never hear her complain. So we're all very proud. She deserves it out of anyone on this team to go to the Olympics.
One of Miranda's biggest cheerleaders is her mom, and she watches both of her daughters every day in the bleachers.
It's a family event because you all have to be involved. When you have somebody that's committed, you have to have your family behind you.
Miranda is determined to win the Paralympics, but more than winning, she wants people to treat her like a regular person.
I mean, I just wanted them to look at it as me being like everybody else, like not really being any different and stuff like that. I mean, I just want them to see me as like a normal person.
Alachua County school officials say it appears a student who brought a weapon to a Newberry school yesterday did not intend any harm. Investigators say a woman called 911 last night and said she had been assaulted and was upset. A Michigan woman is dead after a 75-pound stingray jumped out of the water and struck her upper body. And police are standing guard outside the U.S. Embassy in Belgrade this morning after hundreds of rioting Serbs attacked. 2 State Department contract workers have been fired and another one disciplined for breaking into Barack Obama's private passport file. As many as 10,000 Turkish troops have crossed into the border into northern Iraq to hunt down Kurdish rebel fighters. It seems like every day there is more bad news about the economy. It can be scary, but experts say there are some things you can do to protect your finances and your sanity. NBC's Kristen Dahlgren has more. Stay tuned for WUFT News at 5:30 to find out how University of Florida officials are keeping students safe on campus. Have a good afternoon.